to tear down is this right here, is a particular version of it, is the T7, Tankmaster T7. And this, I'm going to show you how to tear one of these down and put it back together. Right here is our specifically designed vise for this. It slides right down in here just like so. Grips it firmly so it won't go anywhere on me. And the first thing you want to do on this is remove your nozzles. They're taking 11 millimeter. On these specific ones, which again, these come in different sizes, shapes. Oh, the socket size for this is 11/16. And the threads on this are reversed. So, lefty tighty, righty loosey. And there's a, right here, there's a set screw you have to remove. I think it's a 3/32. No, it's smaller. It's a 5/64. There we go. Go ahead and remove that. This right here would always be replaced every time you go to rebuild the unit. You need a center punch and a hammer to get out this pin right here. It goes across, goes through straight right here. Knock it out, and then use a pair of needle nose pliers, pop it out. This also would be replaced every time you go to rebuild the unit.
These it hold the output shaft in place.
Yes. Okay, now if it spins free, I can go ahead and take off my nozzle bodies. These right here are standard threads. Pull straight off. Oh, there's a problem. This right here obviously would be replaced. Look for when doing repairs on these is check these edges right here. This one and this one right here. Make sure there are no grooves or anything of any kind. And if there are, the gear on here gets pressed on. You can't take it off once it's on there. So if you have to order a new nozzle body, you have to order the gear to come with it and press it on. The best way to press that on is to use another gear. Use another gear, put it right up on top just like that, and use a press and press it right on, and then just pop the other gear right back off. The best way to do that. Pull that off. Now you're going to need a really small flat tip screwdriver. There's a retaining ring right here. Get it, pull it up, pull it off, just like so. Once again, them retaining rings, every time you go to repair these units, would be replaced. Keeps rotating around on me. Now there's another retaining ring right here, just a little bit bigger. This one's easy, just pops right off. Pull off this, seal, and then there's a, let me get it off of, there it is. Both these pieces, all these pieces right here, would all be replaced every time you go to repair the unit. Turn around to the other side. Now what I use to take these off, because these are normally Loctited on, is I'll find an Allen wrench or anything that comes close. It has to be a hard metal. Fit in here, just like so. Take a small hammer, tap it back and forth, work that Loctite loose. If you have to replace these, all you have to do is check these surfaces. If they're fine, you shouldn't have to. Wow. Take out this one bolt right here, crescent wrench right here, socket and breaker bar. There we go. Reverse threads on this. And I do believe this one right here is standard threads. That's reversed too. I just pull the gear off. O-ring right here. This would always be replaced. Once again, these are brass. They're not going to dent or ding the stainless. I just stripped it out. Flat, thin wrench. Comes in really handy when that nozzle body is on top of there. It slides just underneath of it and allows you to grip this. Break it light loose. This right here is reverse threads. There's a little pin right here which slips into the bottom of this gear that the nozzle body sits on top of to keep this gear from rotating. Slide that off. Going to pull this out. You want to take out these 3 screws right here. Take them out just like so. Go ahead and release it from the vise. Got your screws. Now you want to put it in the vise upside down, like so. Snug it down. This normally would be tight, but since this is a shorter version of this teardown, this right here is a 3/8. The screen will go ahead and come right out with it. This is standard threads. Comes right out. On the bottom of this would normally be an orifice plate that bolts in right here. It's a plate that sits on here and restricts how much water comes through these. Go ahead and take it out of the vise. What I normally do to get this out, this particular part, is I'll take it on a flat hard surface and just gently tap it out. And then once it starts to come out, soft surface pops right out. This right here is your hollowed out
router 2.
There's 2 O-rings on here. These would always be replaced with an overhaul. I'm going to clamp this in just like so. And right here we have a flat piece of bar stock. This right here is made for getting in here and taking this out and putting it back in. Normally during an overhaul you wouldn't have to worry about that. That rarely ever gets damaged. But I always use it to take this apart too. Go straight up. Lock it in the vise. There it is. Reverse threads. Now in this, snap ring, pinch, pull out. Pull this out. Pull out. O-ring. We're also on a new build. There's a carbide insert that goes in right in here with 2 snap rings right here. You can see it right here, around here on the inside. That would just pop out and this would slide out or slide in if you were building a brand new one. These rarely ever get damaged, so therefore you don't have to worry about them. Just look in and check it out, and if there's no scratches or anything on the inside of it, leave it alone. This is now hollow. Completely torn down. Come back over here. Grab my pipe wrench. Right there. Go ahead and just use a normal pipe wrench, smaller, get a grip. Should just pop right off. Should not be very much torque on this at all. Be careful when you pull it out because of all the gears. These can be rebuilt. There's about 20 or more pieces in here. As long as these top gears, there's no ovaling of the shaft they sit on, these can be torn down, put new grease in, and be rebuilt. the vise. Flip it over. Right there. So right there, let it catch. Down it. Break it loose. Pull out, pull the turbine off. On a new build, this right here, you would have to press this in. As long as this right here just clears the bottom of the turbine, you're fine. As long as it's not metal riding on top of this, because there's also a carbide bit right here inside of there that sits barely above this metal to keep them from rubbing together. Pull out. Two pieces put together, back to back. Pull out. Pull out this O-ring. And that is the basic total teardown of a T5, T7 unit.
Go.
Now to reassemble the Tankmaster T5, first thing you want to do is you want to locate all your O-rings and everything. Try to get everything organized. These things, organization and placing is everything. These are such a sophisticated and very complicated machine. You have to be very delicate with them or they just won't run. First, start and put on your O-ring. Snap it on, goes right here, long two, up here. On these, you never reuse the O-rings. The only reason I'm doing this is for the training video purposes only. Go ahead. Now if you look, there's two different color bushings here. They each have a little O-ring around the top of them. Right there, I think you can see it. It's a little purple one, right there in that little groove. This, you would have to buy both them separate. So just don't get caught off guard with that when you get it. Now the black one goes in first, goes in right here. Place the lip down. The other lip up. Take your gear, your 310 shaft, push down, slide in. Brass fitting right there. Your 4 little Phillips head screws. This holds all that in place. Now, you can go ahead and bolt on your turbine. Once again, checking to make sure, push it down and make sure there's no metal on metal. Make sure them 2 carbide pieces in there are the only things touching. Bring it over here, stick it in the vise. Make sure this is nice and snug. Normally all these would be new. Flip it right back over, right there. Take your motor, sit right up here on top, screws right down on top of the brass piece. These can be hard sometimes because the gear that's attached to that turbine has to match up with the gears inside this Maxxum motor. And it can take you a minute sometimes. There, I got it. Use your pipe wrench, just ever so slightly snug it. Right here. You want to make sure you use anti-seize on these. All these O-rings, make sure you use anti-seize or soapy water to make sure you don't tear these or damage them. Snug it down. Right here. You want to take your brown seal, spring down, push it in, lip down, push down in, make sure it's sitting in there nice. Take your snap ring, place down, make sure it's snapped in there nice. Sometimes every once in a while, if you have a question, just spin it around in there. Make sure it has a nice good seat. O-ring, just like so. Anti-seize. I'll use this. Make sure that's nice and tight. Pull this out. Take your body, put it with the brace there, down. You want to try to line up these 3 bolt holes with the 3 right there inside this. Try to get it close. You can maneuver it once it's in there, but just try to get it close. Normally this is where you would use soapy water, but because it's already wet, don't really have to worry about it. Take your original turbine spacer that come with it, put it in, push it down, and I have 2 spares that allow me to push this the rest of the way down in. Go ahead and put those away. Now when I flip this upside down, this one's going to slide back out. I can go ahead and position this right there, or as close as you can get it. Put the screws in. Don't really snug them, just kind of put them in there for right now. You want to go around and snug these just a little bit each at a time, or you'll end up stripping one out. Okay, now if that's done, you want to flip around back over here to the back. Place the whole unit back inside this, in the vise. Put back in its original turbine spacer. A little bit of anti-seize. These are standard threads, so you don't have to worry about it. Spin it right down in there. Nice and tight. Spring. Input cap. Normally tighten this down with a pipe wrench. Just make sure it's nice and tight. It's also a good idea to check the threads on these because they are so fine that if you have one gall and you start tightening it, once it galls up, you try to loosen it, it's not going to happen. You're going to have to cut the unit in half. Come back around over here to this side. And you got this little tiny O-ring. It's like the smallest one you got. Put it right about there. It's all where you need to put it. Come over here, and if you can, you need to look down in here. There's like a C clip down here on top of that Maxim motor. You want to place this right down in there in that slot. I usually put it off a little bit and then turn it until I feel it snap down into position. Smack it a couple times. Make sure it's down in there nice and tight. Push the O-ring down. Put my O-ring on my output cap here. Screw it down. Remember, reverse threads. Nice and tight. Put your gear on upside down. The gear facing down like this in this particular case. Since mine stripped out. Go down.
Alright.
Okay, make sure this is nice and tight. Okay. And over here I have a few pieces to describe what that nozzle body is, what's inside there, since I can't get mine apart. There's this piece, then right here's your gear, your O-ring would be right here. Nozzle body goes up in here like this. There's a few bushings and a couple washers in there. And then this piece right here, which is stuck, sits in there and screws down in there like so. Now on these, you want to check these inside surfaces right here, and also up here in the top, right up in here. You also want to check this right here and right here for scoring. If there is, probably best to get a new one. Back over here, I'm going to go ahead and start assembling this back now. Take this, remember, reverse threads. What I usually use is we have this made for the T5. Instead of like the Orbi with it down here, we put it in the center of this one. So I can stick it in right there. Tighten this down. Just like so. Now I gotta put in my shaft, my pin, which goes right here. And if you look up here, there's a flat spot on top of this shaft. The pin goes right in right here. It goes straight across, and you want it to be aligned with this flat spot, just like so. Usually take ball peen hammer and just very gently, just kind of tap it in. Try to miss the top of the nozzle. There, just like so. Put in your set screw, which always this would be new, but for this purpose isn't. Make sure you get this nice and tight. This is where most of the failures on this unit comes into play. Okay? Top cap. Reverse threads. Tighten. Now, the large ones, right there, right there. You want the spring right here facing out. That way when the water pressure hits it, it gets inside that groove and expands it. Makes it stop the water from leaking out around the nozzle body. Your two biggest retaining springs slide right in on here. You can just snap them right up on there with your thumb. Put on your two small retaining rings. Yes, this would be replaced, most definitely. This were a repair going to a customer, but it's not, so I'm just using it for a display. Now you want to put on your nozzle bodies. Normally, you got to put them on right here. All it is pink hand sanitizer soap mixed with water. Just want to spray it on there nice and good. Make sure you get it nice and wet. That way these just slide right on. And these have to be at 90-degree angles of each other. Right there. Just like that. Creating an X. You have these two that barely even have a lip at all. Right there on the end with the lip facing inward. Anti-seize. Anti-seize. Snug. Snug. Anti-seize your nozzles. $11mm. Tighten. 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 And that's a complete T7 build. Alright, let's see how we did. Here's mine, let's see how it works. There are some bad parts in this one, but I think I built it good enough to run still.